Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, here to bring you another gear review, and today we're talking about slings. This guy right here by Edgar Sherman Designs. First heard about the sling in an article over on Jerking the Trigger, and with respect to slings, there's a lot of them out there. There's been a lot out there for a while, and it's webbing, right? And as a 2-point sling, some mechanism of ideally lengthening and shortening it on the fly, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's like, okay, well, I've used a bunch. What's new with this one? Turns out there's actually some pretty cool stuff. As you can see right here, I have a Honey Badger by Q for the host weapon, largely in part to basically show the versatility of this. When you order these slings, it can come a couple different ways. One, you can either have loose ends with tri-glides, so you can put basically whatever attachment method you want, or you can have QDs sewn in, or it'll come like this. Really strong stitching through here, and it's basically looped over, and then you'll get a couple loops of 550 cord. That allows you to pretty much attach this to any platform. Right back here on the SB Tactical pistol brace, I ran my pieces through one side, brought it out the other side, tied some knots in it with a 550 cord, and yeah, it's on there, which is rad because there's only so many ways you can attach a sling to this. Granted, there's a QD point here if you want to run a single point, and you could obviously use the M-lock sections, but again, keeping with the design of the rifle, really handy and light. I don't want to just add more weight and more metal to this thing. So this lends itself to that, but it can obviously be used on any platform. Right here in the middle of the sling, you have this buckle. The other option is basically one of these guys holding the sling together. What this allows though, especially if you don't have QD mounts, what it allows you to do is very easily take the sling off just with that buckle. If you just want to take it off, or you're doing maritime stuff, maybe your weapon's trying to drown you, get stuck on something, snap that, your weapon's off of you. It's just one of the options they offer. The real magic though actually happens right over here in our adjustment method. All the adjustment on this sling is done with this piece, moving it backwards or forwards to loosen or tighten the sling. In addition to that, right here you have this band of elastic which is sewn into the sling. This does a couple things. One, if for whatever reason your sling is kind of starting to get twisted up, it flattens it out as you're adjusting it, so it pulls it through, makes it flat. And then the other handy thing, since you already have this elastic band here, is it allows you to very easily secure your sling onto your weapon. We can go ahead and take our sling material, fold it back on itself, and take this, go ahead and put it through this elastic loop right here. And once we've done that, basically just tighten this guy up. And we now have this thing set up in a configuration where it's not going to get stacked on stuff. Whether we want to keep it in our vehicle, put it in a weapons case, whatever it is, we have this thing locked in here where it's not creating a huge snag hazard. And at the same time, it's really easy to just pull it out when we need to actually deploy it. All that stuff's good, but how does this perform as a sling? Performs really well. It's really easy to manipulate. You can go ahead and crank this guy up if you want to, create a nice tight shooting position, or if you need to manipulate your weapon, need some space, loosen it up, do whatever you need to do. Moves really freely, and honestly, that's kind of the biggest thing for me. Having used a bunch of different 2-point slings, the heart of it is how readily this thing can move. And this does a great job. Even with almost no tension whatsoever on the sling, it moves back and forth real easy. There's no cam mechanism to defeat to move it in one direction or the other. And yeah, like, it's just smooth. In addition to that, I don't have any tails hanging off of this thing. Really, really, really slick design. After using this guy for a number of months, really pleased with this sling. Even just little stuff, like the 550 cord attachment. I really like it. Some people like QDs, that's fine. You can actually order these with QDs, but with this 550 cord, well, I've used slings in the past that have a 550 cord attachment. Usually they're sewn into the sling and you're doing this crazy like loop thing. And then on top of that, the issue you run into is if that wears through for whatever reason, gets cut, something happens, the sling's gone, it's sewn into it. This, you literally put your 550 cord wherever you want, tie whatever knot you want, cut off the ends to whatever length you want, and you just slide this around so that the knot is inside the sling. That's it. Super clean. And it'll literally go on pretty much any weapon system, which is really handy. If you want to pick one of these guys up, go over to Edgar Sherman Designs. Bunch of different colors, again, different attachment points, whether you want sewn in QDs or not, and whether you want your little buckle so you can break this thing away from you. All kinds of different options. And pretty cool guy doing some cool stuff. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.